And I don't know many people that's just like, it's okay, and really mean it's okay.
My client who was interviewing that person didn't know that they didn't want to talk about it. She asked on camera and the guest broke down.
You don't have to necessarily speak a certain way to be professional, but you got to let people know you know how to handle business.
If you want to be sitting here having beef with with the audience and y'all go back and forth and you cussing them out, they cussing you out, hey, fine, have at it, but be consistent across the platforms.
This episode, we're going to focus more on having an actual conversation instead of talking directly to y'all. So, welcome back to Charlotte Podcast.Studio. I'm Tay. I'm the studio manager here at Charlotte Podcast.Studio.
Yo, and I'm Shamar, Tay's trusty sidekick. What's happening?
Let me readjust my mic real quick.
So, we are here. I'm just talking. Listen, my job, like I said on my channel, I Don't Love Studios, make sure you come follow us, is to make y'all laugh at least twice in these episodes. Yes, I need to get 2 laughs out of you, and then I get to go home. So, Tay, what's happening? How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good, Just had lunch. It was awesome. It was awesomers. So
Awesomers.
Yeah. But this episode, I just wanted to go back and forth about something that we talked about before, which was like the professionalism with etiquette.
Yeah.
And the way you need to speak and flow with a level of professionalism, regardless of how professional, quote unquote, you may or may not think your podcast is or other people. And what I mean by that is you don't have to be in a suit and tie to be professional, because we wear jeans. You don't have to necessarily speak a certain way to be professional, but you got to let people know you know how to handle business. That's basically what I want us to.
Y'all better stand on business.
That part. So.
I got one laugh. I'm almost done. 50% done with my job.
Almost home free,
right?
Huh? Right.
But yeah, definitely, man. I think that it's 2 parts, right? So professionalism is how you show up for your audience, your viewers, the people that are watching your podcast. And then the second part is how you show up for people that you have on your podcast. Anybody that guests that you interview and things like that. Mm-hmm. So I think if we kind of talk about it from both of those lenses, if you will, that'll help possibly for them to understand. So starting with the being professional in how you show up to your viewership or your community. What are your thoughts on that? Or tips, that they can do to ensure that there is some professionalism there?
That goes back to sticking to that schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've already said, batch record, batch release, schedule your stuff. Mm-hmm. And if you are really, think about it this way. Would you want a job where they say, we'll call you and let you know? Like, I know some jobs is like, what do you call that? On standby? Mm-hmm. Is that what they call it?
On call.
On call.
Yeah.
I know some jobs are like that, but let's go to a regular, quote unquote, 9 to 5. Like, I know for us, sometimes it's a quote unquote on call, but our on call might be days, weeks, but we also have clients that are like, hey, I know it's 10 o'clock in the morning. Can we use y'all, by 10 o'clock tonight type stuff?
Not me. I'll be in the bed.
He be in the
go
bed.
ahead and go to that.
Look, if it's editing, yeah, nah, because I ain't even going to say that because I don't want nobody trying to be like, oh, he be up. I don't be up either. I go to bed early too. But stick to that schedule and make sure that you put that out, because once you start flowing, people are expecting something. And if you have to have a no call, no show type ordeal, at least put a post out and say, hey, this week I'm slacking. This week I'm not going to be able to get to XYZ, but just know we'll be back on schedule next week or within 2 weeks. Like, just make sure you let your audience know. And that's like, if you get fired, just call me. Don't have me waste my gas. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to drive all the way to my job and then for you to say, yeah, we don't need you anymore. Bro, just call me.
That's funny because someone told me that. I ain't get the air tag. My bad. Let me do that real quick. The AC.
The air.
Yeah, I had somebody tell me that a few months ago when I had that conversation. They said this could have been an email. So I get it. Duly noted. But I mean, to that point of consistency, right? If you tell them that your videos drop on Wednesdays, when Tay has told y'all ours drop on Wednesdays, and he be dropping them on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And to his point, if we do have a glitch or a glitch in the matrix or whatever, if it doesn't drop, then we'll post and say, hey, stay tuned for next week. This is our bye week. Why do I keep doing sports analogies?
Because for whatever reason,
so bad.
For whatever, and it's crazy because we use that because we don't really do sports
at all.
It's fun. I don't know. I think for me, because my daughter plays softball and my oldest son plays football.
Okay,
so I kind of have to dive into
adjacent to it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So all of that is basically just saying, plan ahead. You should know what your schedule is. Like, I know nurses and doctors or whatever, they get their schedule a month in advance or something like that. Or they have to plan it or set it out a month or two in advance or something crazy like that.
Flight attendants too, by the way, they get their schedule a month in advance.
Who does?
Flight attendants or the airline staff. So pilots, flight attendants, etc.
Yeah. So just let people know. Just plan ahead, stick to your schedule, and if for whatever reason you have to come off that schedule, just let somebody know.
Yep. And a good way to maintain that schedule or hold yourself to a schedule, there's a software called Notion, Notion, and that is a content calendar where you can manage and schedule your posts. You can know what you're posting on each day or whatever the frequency that you're posting, and that is an accountability partner for you. So that's one good way of doing it. And then also just if you're using, like I said, YouTube and Buzzsprout, because that's the platform we use, you can go ahead and upload your stuff and you can schedule it out. So you can set it and forget it. You see that? You see what I did there? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because honestly, that's what I do. Because we do batch recording. Mm-hmm. Some days it's like, look, we don't have anything on the schedule. Let's record as many episodes as possible. So I typically try to plan 2 to 6 episodes in advance. So if we get a day where we can record more than one and do this whole batch recording, look, we both can get here at 8 o'clock. And honestly, y'all, as long as we get in and do what we got to do, we could be done with 3-4 episodes by noon.
True.
Because, at that point, there's nothing but press record, stop, press record again, and go from there.
And then take a break to celebrate.
Yeah, because you got to take that break. So to go into, I didn't know if you was going to hit the next one.
Yeah, I agree. Jump into it. You go ahead, though.
So the next thing is having your etiquette with your interviewers. Is that right?
Oh, you move forward. No. We had one more point that I wanted to say before.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so staying on the viewership side, right? Your community, how you show up to your community. One thing is make sure you're preparing. I sound like Tay now. I'm not fussing at you guys. Now, Tay preaches and fusses. I'm not that guy. I'm the comedian, right? But prepare properly and thoroughly for your episode, right? So you can know the content that you're speaking to, but if there's any fun facts or anything that you want to include in that'll help again enforce your knowledge. You'll be an authoritative figure in that field, and it's just like, this person know what they're talking about. And so plan ahead. Research, do what you have to do, and properly plan that episode thoroughly so that it reads well on the camera. That's all I got.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I just got excited because my package just got home.
Oh my God.
Yes.
So, and even to spin off of that, right? The excitement of knowing that your package is there earlier than when it was supposed to.
Yes.
Going into the etiquette with the people that you're interviewing and your guests, be on time.
Ooh.
Be early. Because I can tell you now, we don't like our time being wasted. And I don't know many people that's just like, it's okay, and really mean it's okay. If you know that you're supposed to start at 8 and you know your guest is going to be there and you're telling them to be there by 7:45, don't walk in the door at 8:10.
Right.
Talking about some, hey, all right, my bad, I'm late. And if you have to be late, give them a heads up.
The moment you know, they need to know.
They need to know
as early as possible.
Yes.
And even before the day of, that's great. You definitely need to show up on time. But I think before the day of, it's in how you interact with them. You're inviting this person to be a guest at your podcast. It's the same way as if you invite somebody to be a guest in your home. Let's say you're having a dinner party or something. You want to make sure you reach out to them, give them the invite, in enough time so that they can plan for it, right? And then also, now that you have them coming on your show, oftentimes some of them, let's say they're viewers, they would know what your show is about. But if they're not, you need to let them know, hey, here's what my show is about. Here's why I think you're a good fit to be on my show. And if it's an interview style, you want to provide any questions up front so that they can familiarize themselves with the material prior to jumping onto the show. Now, sometimes with my spotlight, there are certain guests that, they prefer not to have the questions up front because they don't want to overanalyze it. One of them is Tay's cousin.
Yeah.
Hey, they're related because he is what did I say? Analysis paralysis.
Yeah, you told me I got analysis paralysis. Yeah. Don't give me too many upfront questions, right? Because then I'm going to be trying to make sure I dial in and really, really tell you what I really want you to say. Because again, I'm a planner, so I'll go back into scripting mode and I'll have a whole 3 paragraphs to say for just one question.
Right. Like
we do here. Like
exactly.
Our podcast might have one bullet point and I'm gone for 5 minutes.
He be gone.
But it's okay though. Because I'm giving you something. I'm not just leaving you in dead space. And I know sometimes I go left and I don't make that U-turn or that 3-point turn like I'm supposed to. I feel like you're
going left now. Huh?
No,
I'm
not
still in the car,
yet. Not yet. Not yet.
Listen, and then one thing that's important too when you're giving them the pre-screen questions or letting them know what you're going to talk about, make sure you understand and know what's sensitive, what they do not want to discuss. Of course, if it's a celebrity guest, you kind of know certain things, or their team will let you know, hey, this is off limits. You can't discuss that.
Right.
But for instance, let's say I do have this one experience last year. It was a client. Our client was the one interviewing her guests. And the guest had a miscarriage, but did not want to talk about that. They didn't know, my client who was interviewing that person didn't know that they didn't want to talk about it. She asked on camera and the guest broke down. It was awkward. It was it was awkward. And then, we just took a break. We cut. Let her get herself together. Of course, we edited that part out, but I said now is a good time for you to figure out what else may be, off limits. So know the boundaries, know where, what to talk about, what not to talk about. And then even if you think you've been thorough with it, you let them know too, though, ahead of time, hey, if there's something that comes up in the conversation and you don't want it a part of it, then you can just say, hey, let's not put this in there, and then we can edit it out. There's magic in post-production, people. But yeah, just know that up front.
So in other words, he pretty much finished up what I was making this long, big old U-turn about. Because I was definitely about to say, make sure you ask thoughtful questions and make sure that the questions fit what your guest does. Mm-hmm. So if Shamar has my cousin on, like he did on Spotlight, right? Check that episode coming soon. She's a hairstylist. I think I always want to say cosmopolitan, but that is not the word.
Not a drink. She is not a drink.
No.
Cosmetologist.
She's a cosmetologist. And it wouldn't make sense for him to have her on the show and he's asking her about, I don't know. Bartending. Yeah, it's not going to fit. Nope. So make sure you ask those questions. That's all I was getting at. Just make sure you ask them questions accordingly.
And do not call your guest a cosmopolitan if they're a cosmetologist.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. And when you're done with your episode, show your gratitude. Just give them the extra, hey, I really appreciate you coming out. You were, great. Everything is going to be great. I told you, it was going to be easy. Just, ignore the cameras because the lights, we turn off the lights. And we have lights here that spotlight us, pun intended. And yeah, pun intended. And we just want you to feel comfortable. So we make you feel comfortable. You need to make your guests feel comfortable before they get here. And when they do get here, we just add on that extra, what do you call it? The
razzle-dazzle.
Yeah, the sprinkles on top. So, yeah, that's all I was going to say about that.
So that's a warm opening before the episode and then a warm closing. Know how to treat people. And then even after that, after they leave, of course, you've closed it warm. Everything was great, XYZ. Give them some type of expectation as well, right? So, hey, if you haven't already, let them know, hey, I expect to have this episode out by XYZ time, and then
when it comes out, make sure you share it.
Absolutely.
Because people want to know when they quote unquote on TV.
Just saying. You share the link with them and you ask them to share it with their people because it's going to be a win-win for both of you guys. It's going to give you more visibility into their network of people. And then that person, your guest, has gotten visibility into your network or your community. Yeah.
That's it.
That's all I got.
So with that being said, keep that level of respect through the whole thing.
Keep that same energy. I think I got my second one. All right, good night. Y'all have a good...
One thing that one of my clients does of how she is, I don't even know what the word is. I'll just explain what she does. What she does is she does a drop at the beginning of the episode to say, hey, this is my name and this is my podcast. And today is going to be a good episode because we have XYZ. And then she gives a introduction to who her guest is. Make sure you craft one of those. Send that to the guest to make sure that's what they like. Because again, you might put something in there they don't want to talk about. So I just want to.
Speaking of that same client, I know who you're speaking of. What I enjoy about her, because she has guests in studio. So she'll get here. Because I used to wonder why she always schedules her stuff at quarter till the hour. So, for instance, she just she set up her appointment yesterday and it's at 12:45 until 1:45. And I'm like, why does she do it at the quarter of the hour? But that's for her to get to the studio 15 minutes prior than her guest. And what she does is she has branded coffee mugs and she'll place those on the table here and she will place water, room temperature or chill, depending upon their preference. She'll place the water in the coffee mugs. And I'm like, okay, that's a nice touch because she's putting her branding out, but she's also setting the stage so that when her guest gets here, they're comfortable. And then when they finish the episode, she tells them, that she appreciates them coming on, and she will give them a branded T-shirt. So her podcast name is on the T-shirt. She gives them that as a thank you gift for doing her podcast. Yeah. And I'm like, that's how I would interact with my guests and stuff. So I've always peeped that and noticed that she does a good job of that.
Yeah, she does. And I like her podcast because they're always more informative than you think they're going to be. Like one of her last guests talked about ADHD.
Yes.
I am unofficially diagnosed.
Right.
Just going to put that out there. I said, God, dog, I do that. I do that too. That's what that means?
At the end of the episode, me and Tay both was like, yeah, we got ADHD.
Yeah. And another thing that she mentions too is she talks to her audience, her community. When people comment, And that's another space that you want to be respectful. I'm not necessarily going to say kind, because if you got one of those podcasts that's just like you're intentionally bad mouthing, if that makes sense, you're intentionally not trying to be, I don't even know what to say. I'm going to say on a scale of 1 to 10, 5 is easy. 5 is normal. If you want to go to 0 and be ratchet compared to going to 10 and being suit and tie, it's your podcast. Nobody can tell you what to do. So respect your commenters, your audience, based on what you do. And again, so she comments on that, and that's how she ends up getting a lot of her guests on her show. They comment and say, hey, can you find somebody about this? Or I want to know more about this, and she goes from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's dope. I like that.
So, and then to that point too, you have to think of, so we gave them from a viewership perspective, we gave them from a perspective of them interacting with their guests that they have on their show. But adding yet another layer to this is your community as well, outside of just YouTube or what have you. However you're interacting on Instagram, however you're interacting on Facebook groups or whatever it's called, Meta as a whole, should be consistent, because you want to keep your brand consistent across all platforms. I understand every platform is a little different, right? So YouTube having long form content, Instagram used to be pictures, but now it's more focused on reels, short form content. And, we all know what all the platforms are for. So no matter how you're using them, make sure that it's consistent with what brand you want to be out there. So yeah, to Tay's point, if you want to be sitting here having beef with with the audience, and y'all go back and forth and you cussing them out, they cussing you out, hey, fine, have at it, but be consistent across the platforms and stuff. I don't personally recommend you doing that. But, but then on the flip side,
not unless it's part of your brand. If that is your brand,
right? Like
there's a restaurant, I want to say it's in Missouri, where they literally throw biscuits at you.
Oh, God. I do not want to be assaulted.
Yeah, by no biscuits. Like if you're like, hey, I want biscuits, they literally chuck them.
Wow. Okay. I bet people line up to go there too to get a biscuit thrown at them.
Yeah. Just like there are restaurants where when I don't know what it's called, but you walk in that door and they instantly start talking junk. And I don't really know if they have you sound like a waiter, but that restaurant is literally like, you go in there, it's like, all right, so what the F you want today?
Yes.
And
there's one, I experienced one in Chicago. It's a hot dog joint. I forgot the name of it. Anybody in Chicago, just drop it in there. But you literally go there and get roasted. And I'm like, I'm really wanting to pay these people to roast me. It was an experience. So yeah, to your point, if that's your brand, go off and be consistent with it, because we know that these people don't mean no harm, but it's a part of it, and that's what you want. And if they don't cuss you out good enough, you're gonna be like, I need you to do it.
No tip for you, buddy.
Right. Just like on the flip side, going to that chicken joint, not going to say their name, but when you say thank you or appreciate it, they're going to say my pleasure. And if they don't, you're going to be like, wait a minute, where's my pleasure at? You know what I'm saying? So just stay within your brand. That's what we're trying to drive home. Good analogy.
Yeah. I've never been to that restaurant, but I've heard people mention it. I was like, yeah, I ain't going in there.
You ain't been in that restaurant?
No.
Seriously?
No, not the one you talking about.
Oh, no. I'm talking about the My Pleasure one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everybody goes there.
Oh, okay.
Everybody. I don't care what nobody says. No.
I was about to say, you had a cup in here the other day.
Yeah, just a cup. Got some ice water. But no, I'm talking about the restaurant where they throw the biscuits.
Oh,
gotcha. I heard that the food was actually pretty good too.
Okay.
But
I'm not about to eat that biscuit, especially your hand was on it and if it hit the floor.
Yeah, nah, I ain't picking that up. Nah. I mean, it's just kind of like with Five Guys. You go in there and you get peanuts, you know. And sometimes peanuts are literally all over the floor. Mm-hmm. But it's part of their brand. But I don't have much else to say for this episode. I think the biggest thing is make your brand, stick to your brand. But if you feel that you need to shift and go to a different type of Rebranding. If you need to do rebranding, you might have to go fast. You might have to go slow. It depends on the main thing that your audience is showing up for. But I think with all of that being said, if you have any final words.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If you don't have any final words.
I do not. I think you wrapped it up very well.
I think I did too. So.
Ain't y'all proud of Tay? I do have final words, sorry. Aren't y'all proud of Tay? Like, this man has kept it together. We're going to close this thing out.
I stuck to the script.
Right.
Okay. I stuck to the script and omitted some stuff. Yes. If you are appreciative that this episode is not as long as all the other ones, give a thumbs up. Even if you're not, still give a thumbs up. If you are a proud person of me, just get that thumbs up. If you didn't like anything about this episode, hit that thumbs down button twice.
2 times.
Don't worry about what it does. Just do it and leave, okay? That's all. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. And what else am I missing besides the final intro? Or should I just go ahead and into that?
Just go right to it.
We can be found. Our website is charlottepodcast.studio. I was about to give y'all all kinds of information that was not in the same order. The website is charlottepodcast.studio. We are on Instagram and TikTok at charlottepodcast.studio. You can reach out to us and email us at info@charlottepodcast.studio. If you want to book a tour or if you want to just go ahead and set up your own podcast, we are at charlottepodcast.studio / well, I think it's that way for y'all, / book now.
Yeah, man.
That's it.
That's it.
So again, I'm Tay. I'm the studio manager here at Charlotte Podcast Studio.
Okay,
Charlotte Podcast.
I thought we had a new name.
Well, Studios is coming, but it'll still be
absolutely
no S at the end of it.
You get it.
Yeah.
And I am Tay. No,
you are definitely
today. I'm Shavar, Tay's trusty sidekick. And I appreciate y'all watching, and we'll catch y'all in the next one.
Peace.
What? I'm Tay.